Brilliance Audio presents the unabridged recording of Dr. Texas, a selection from Heart of Texas, Volume 2, by Debbie Macomber. Performed by Natalie Ross.
Chapter 1. Texas is the only state big enough to hold your dreams. Someone had told Dr. Jane Dickinson that when she signed up for this gig. But whoever it was obviously hadn't lived in promise. With medical school bills the size of the national debt, signing a 3-year agreement to practice medicine in the Texas Hill Country in exchange for partial payment had seemed the perfect solution. Whatever romanticizing she'd done when she'd first thought about making the move from urban California to the heart of rural America had faded with the reality of her situation. Texas had bugs practically as big as pit bulls, and she'd always been somewhat phobic about insects, whether they were of the crawling or flying variety. More serious, more disturbing, was the fact that she simply didn't fit in with this community. People were never less than polite, but they hadn't accepted her. They came to her as a last resort, if they couldn't cure whatever ailed them on their own, and then complained because she wasn't Doc Cummings. Being fresh out of medical school, female, and a good 50 years younger than the beloved practitioner hadn't helped either. But although Jane was lonely and often at loose ends, she felt that she'd begun to make strides. Becoming friends with Dovey Boyd had a lot to do with that. The older woman owned an antique shop with the small Victorian tea room tucked in one corner, and she'd generously offered Jane not only friendship, but advice. Life had taken a decided turn for the better since that first morning Jane had spoken to Dovey. Her last scheduled patient for the day had left, and so had Jenny Bender, her receptionist. Jane sat at her desk, leaning comfortably back in her chair. The makeup she'd applied that morning had long since dissolved in sweat, and her feet ached. It had been a busy day, which was a good sign. It meant that more people of promise were coming to trust her skills. Ellie Patterson was due to return from her honeymoon this week, too. Her second new friend was a local businesswoman. They'd recently met, thanks to Dovey. Jane liked Ellie's no-nonsense approach to life, her quick wit and down-to-earth attitude. After having lunch together, Jane could tell they had the potential to become good friends. She hoped that was the case, because at this point she needed all the friends she could get. A distinct noise in the outer office.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?